Expansion is filled with peaks and valleys. Hartford and Birmingham both dug deep holes at the season's outset. Now the regular season is winding down, and Birmingham has climbed above the playoff line with 3 to go. But tonight's trip to Connecticut might be treacherous. Plenty to play for on Wednesday Night Soccer. Decades worth of memories exist at Dillon Stadium. It's recently renovated, and in year one for Hartford Athletic, it's been a bit of a struggle. They've been eliminated from the playoffs, but tonight the spotlight is shining brightly on a rainy night in the Nutmeg State. Wednesday Night Soccer, bringing together Birmingham Legion and Hartford Athletic, both expansion sides this year. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Mike Watts, joined by Devin Curran. The Eastern Conference standings have been rather unforgiving for Hartford. They're at the bottom. You aren't going to see them in our standings at all. But Birmingham, what a turnaround they've had in the middle of this year.
Pretty impressive, and we'll dive a little bit deeper into that, but the fact that they're even relevant in the playoff standings right now is quite impressive. They stumbled out the gate. For Hartford Athletic, starting on the road, really difficult to kind of get into a rhythm, but they've really managed some pretty impressive results down the stretch. They're definitely building into 2020. So let's talk about that a little bit. Why so rough so early? Well, when you start 8 on the road against some of the best in all the USL Championship, let alone the Eastern Conference, that's a difficult thing to maintain any sort of chemistry. You factor in injuries that they had to deal with, Alex Dixon in and out, and they also got some guys down the stretch that'll disrupt chemistry, but also make it positive going forward. Again, they are looking forward to 2020. Jimmy Nielsen has done a good job.
Well, Hartford Athletic trying to figure out what next year brings. If you're Birmingham, you're going, hey, we could get into a playing game, but we better start winning here. They've had quite the defensive turnaround.
14 days from the end of June, beginning of July is where they hit the reset button. They have gone 7-0-2, 1-3-1, but that's 9 shutouts in 15 games, and this is the reason why. Everybody on the back line, all out of sorts. Right backs need to tuck in a bit more and give them more depth. When you don't have a flat line, you overexpose yourself. Tyler Pasher takes them to pasture. Now you turn things around. This is a 1-0 win after that 3-0 drubbing. Much better. Better shape on the back line. There's actually all 4 lined up. Quick little step by Culbertson, but my favorite thing here isn't the initial shape. It's the fact that they're able to maintain proper discipline when the play doesn't go their way. Indy 11's going to cycle this all the way back around to the far side of the field. That's okay. What ends up happening here, you drift back in and they maintain composure. You're going to get a block of 5 and 2 sets of lines, and then 4 within your back line. There's your 5 in the midfield, and then you've got 4 on the back line. When this ball from Indy 11, you think it's going to dissect them? Not the case whatsoever. Beautiful little step, and then you're off to the races with Brian right up top. You're in transition. That is where they are at their best, but defensively still has to be better than recent results.
Big game here tonight at Dillon Stadium for Hartford Athletic. They close with a 3-game homestand. Birmingham win their last 3. They know they're in. Wednesday Night Soccer coming up next. Wednesday night soccer on ESPN News. Hartford Athletic taking the field. 3 games left in their home campaign. Birmingham Legion hoping their season doesn't end after 3 more. They're still in the playoff hunt with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts on a 50-degree and rainy night in Hartford. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Jimmy Nielsen. He makes just one change. Elliot Horde out. Danny Bedoya, really good playmaker, comes in.
It's going to be an important one, though. It's an area on the field that Hartford Athletic has really struggled with, that number 10 playmaking position all season long. They're hoping that Daniel Bedoya can fill that. So he steps in right underneath Jose Angulo. But keep an eye on the outside mids. If this game's open up a little bit, and it very well could, Sebastian Dalgard, number 7, and Danny Barrera on the right. Now, he'll maintain more position, but a boatload of speed, and more importantly, great coverage behind him, and the likes of Raymond Lee. Really like this back four, how they've grown together. Harry Swartz on the right drops from midfield into right back position. Let's take a look at Birmingham Legion, what Tom Sohn has brought to the field. Only one change for him as well, but that's in a key more beautiful midseason pickup coming over from DC United Loudon. He'll go into the right back position. Kyle Culbertson stays at left back. Back 2 in the center, unchanged. Loves the relationship that those two has created. But the question is, going forward, can the front 3, when Prosper Kasim drops back in, can they combine with the likes of Daniel Johnson on the left, Mikey Lopez in the middle? Because the Siadu will be fine. He'll maintain composure in the middle all night long.
Kyle Fisher and Birmingham on the road. This is a long way away from Alabama. Hartford Athletic welcoming a crowd that's got plenty of rain slickers on. We're in the 50s temperature-wise at kickoff. Hartford in green, black, and gold with white shorts for Birmingham Legion as we're underway in Hartford, Connecticut. Stadium with decades and decades of incredible history, playing host to national television here tonight in 2019, believe it or not. Alex Davey moves back. Devin, we talked about it a bit at the outset here, but you think about Hartford, the 8-game road trip to start the year. Jimmy Nielsen pointed that as the first thing he would have changed if he could have, going back to the start of the year, pushed for another bye week, pushed for maybe a home game at Rentschler Field a little bit sooner, but they basically played the who's who of the East and started 0-8, which put them in a hole they just couldn't get out of. Williams knocking it across. And a curling effort flies out of play. Daniel Johnson, the former Chicago Fire guy. Call him a fireman.
That's the move we talked about, where you get Daniel Johnson moving to the left side outside of Brian Wright when he tucks in, and J.J. Williams dropping even further. A lot of speed up there, but the technical ability by Daniel Johnson is going to be an area they're going to look to exploit on that left-hand side. Mikey Lopez counteracting that on the right. Moving in from right back position where he's become a bit more accustomed to under Tom Sohn in the Birmingham Legion. And to your point just a moment ago, Charleston Battery, Lou City, Indy 11, Tampa Bay Rowdies. I'm just naming 4 matches, by the way. That's some of the 8 they had to deal with for Hartford Athletic at the start of this year. It's no wonder they had such a hard time getting things going.
Poor clearance, and coming off his line, Matt Van Okel drives it away. Siadu turned down for Lopez. It's going to be a little interesting to see where we see Mikey Lopez in this game, because he started a bit more central. Siadu. Johnson on the move. Lopez wanted that floated to him. Kept in by Hartford. Harry Swartz, 20th start of his rookie season out of Northeastern. Injured at the MLS Combine. That sort of did him in terms of getting a contract at the beginning of the year. As after a 3 or 4 day trial and then a 10 or 12 day extension of that trial fit in quite well for Hartford.
Still one of the more impressive pickups for the White Puma this season. A guy who's proved his wealth and then some. It's funny to think of him as a target man up top when you only put 5 goals away in your entire collegiate career, but that's exactly what he was. Small in stature, but an IQ off the charts. It's been showcased here under Hartford Athletic, where they've really utilized him everywhere on the pitch outside of center back.
Swartz trying to defend here. Knocked back out by Kassim. Asiedu. Kassim stabbed away by Gadula, who's on loan from FC Cincinnati. DeVitt dribbling through trouble. Jose Angulo, long Jimmy Nielsen's primary talisman as a striker. Played too far for Brian Wright. Flicked on by Dalgard. And here comes the move from Ryan Williams. Maybe the most improved man, one individual for this Hartford side. Started as a 10, has moved to more of a box-to-box role. Knocked away from Dalgard by Lopez. Throw for J.J. Williams-Devin. We talk with Tommy Sohn a bit about what he wants to improve with the attack for Birmingham, and yet it kept kind of going back to how well they've played defensively. You can literally split their season, 17 games in the front and what remains. The turnaround has been pretty staggering defensively, which is frankly what you expect from a Tommy Sohn team.
Though we make reference to that 14-day stretch, he wasn't exactly too keen to take that bait, was he? Felt like any team would reset in that situation. It was more so along the lines of just improving from what they've done in games past, and that's the real testament to growing as a club, but also as a coach. Tommy Sohn admitting that, you know, I kind of got put into a situation where I was reactionary based upon what was being thrown at me. They had a lot of players in and out on loan and not necessarily being able to play with the same style, philosophy, formation on a regular basis. When you have that many things rotating, it's difficult for anybody to manage, let alone Tom Sohn as a expansion manager for the Birmingham Legion. But again, mid-season, you come off that loss to Indy 11, you turn the page a little bit. You also struggled with Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but then all of a sudden everything just starts to click, and it starts from the back line moving forward. And it's real simple in nature to say that, but if you can play a decent back line, where there are 4 or 5 guys buying into a philosophy and then explode going the other direction, that's where the individuals can really express themselves. You move into the final third, and that's what you've seen out of the Birmingham Legion over the past few matches.
Culbertson drives it away, and a punch there from Cody Cropper. Kept in play by Kassim, followed by DeVitt. And turned over en route to Bedoya. Settles for Johnson, who flicks it forward right at Cropper. Not a bad idea to try and unleash Dalgard.
It's a good thought. The problem is for Birmingham Legion, let's start there on their offensive threat up top with Daniel Johnson just drifting it a little bit. J.J. Williams is actually already turning the other direction. And when you flick in that manner, you're letting the ball come across your body, utilizing the momentum to your advantage. Unfortunately, J.J. Williams had other ideas. He was spinning off going the other direction. It is part of the movement you've seen out of Birmingham recently on the offensive side, where they're just struggling to find a bit of that shape that they had over that 9-game unbeaten streak. 7-0-2 and impressive against the likes of Tampa Bay Rowdies. Quality performances against North Carolina FC. And can you now replicate it when push comes to shove? Remember, 3 games to go. Charleston Battery hot on your heels. They're locked in points right now. And yes, goal differential comes into play, but what the tiebreaker is, as we're talking, is overall wins. And they're 2 in front, but they do not have the luxury of slacking off at all. When you take a look at the schedule that's in front of the Charleston Battery, this is one of those games that is definitely going to be a sleeper. We talked about it in pregame a little bit. You cannot go to sleep on Hartford Athletic, even for a moment.
Perhaps a chance here. Wright hit it all wrong. Alex Davey, poor clearance.
This is just one of your strikers up top, trying to gain some confidence, stretching the back line. Alex Davey has to be better, noticing not just the pace, but the willingness by Brian Wright on that outside position to rotate back over, and that's what you'll get. Brian Wright, J.J. Williams, very active up top. Prosper Kasim will drop more into the midfield, create this sort of diamond look at times, trying to play off of Daniel Johnson and Mikey Lopez. And if they can find a way to just put all of that together, that's where they were successful so impressively in the offensive third. When all of these guys are on the pitch at the same point in time, it is pretty impressive.
Angulo brought that down expertly off his chest, and now he's looking for runners to join. Angulo might do it on his own, and it's a good recovery. And David, a pretty obvious foul. Ball was still rolling as that was put back in play. This is a nice idea by Angulo.
This is what he was brought in for as well. You have to understand that they've really been struggling in the final third, though the defensive shape has gotten better. Hartford Athletic still having trouble coming by goals, and Jose Angulo one-on-one situations, pretty much bet on him every single time. And issues they run into is when he does rotate out there and it breaks down, who then plays off of him? Sebastian Dalgard had an injury-ridden season, probably about 5-6 matches mid-year. Jose Angulo actually rotated out there onto the left side, and they played kind of stacked up top. That's why they like to sit in this 4-4-1-1, so that when you do get Angulo going, who's now going to be the next man up? They're hoping Daniel Bedoya is going to be that answer.
Johnson bouncing for Culbertson, sends it along, and beyond Cropper, beyond Wright as well. I mean, Angulo was an MVP in this league. Now, the league has come a long way since 2015. When he was in Pittsburgh, he had 15 goals, and 15 goals no longer wins you much of a prize. But Angulo, a guy who stood the test of time in this league for quite a while.
At any point in time, if you're talking to me about a striker, I don't care if he's a great striker of the ball, if he's a poacher, set piece specialist, whatever. He's got over 50 goals in his season. 52, in his entire career. He's only the 6th man to do that in USL Championship history. So that gives you an idea of the talent that's behind him. Guy who came out of high school and went pro right away. And yes, a very storied career, but he's still looking for that resurgence. A young man who still has a lot of life left in him. And he's done well for Hartford Athletic, but it's that consistency factor that has just been lacking here in the Northeast.
Ward against Lee, who bustles in and wins a goal kick. I mean, that's the story we kept hearing over and over again, consistency. You want to know where you always get consistency? Select is the official ball supplier of the USL Championship and many of the finest leagues in the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products, special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. I mean, Devin, you listen to Jimmy Nielsen, he goes, when we play good, we play really good. When we play bad, we play really bad, to the point where he just wants to see the floor rise and the consistency arrive.
It's never necessarily good when you're having a conversation with a manager and he said, what's the last match you saw? And you have that conversation. He goes, okay, well, how about Charlotte game? I said, yeah, you know, that was actually the last one I saw before I watched the Swope Park Rangers matchup. He said, yeah, basically everything we did wrong in that game is what we're looking to grow upon. But credit to them. They then come out, you get a home match, Swope Park Rangers. It finishes 2-2. It wasn't the way you wanted it to go, but it's some of the better football they played all season long. That's where you have to take that learning curve and then just make it a smaller bell so that you're getting better each and every time out. Something that Birmingham Legion, to be honest, once they have hit that late June, early July, they got better every time. Tommy Sohn saying that we were able to grow upon it. Hartford Athletic just hasn't necessarily followed suit in the same manner.
Lopez, little tap, and recovered by Ryan Williams. It's quickly swarmed, and Lopez, give and go, Kasim! That's a great slide in by Alex Davey. Jimmy Nielsen led Oklahoma City Energy FC through 4 years, led them to the playoffs 3 times, was hoping to skip that expansion season of struggles this year. Didn't quite work out that way. The storied goalkeeper for Sporting Kansas City and one of the most straight shooting managers that we talk to on a regular basis. See what Culbertson can come up with here on the set piece for Birmingham Legion. Swinging inward, and DeVitt has to put it back out. There is a pretty strong wind. You see the flag there in the background whipping essentially back in Culbertson's direction.
I was actually quite concerned in our first conversation with Jimmy Nielsen this year. Get on the phone and, Jimmy, how you doing? Great. How's everything? Well, tell me what you see. Kind of paused for a second, said, do I really want to go down this road? I was honest, spoke from the heart. He said, I agree with you. And the relationship has prospered, so we're on the up and up.
Culbertson, the cross again. That's a little more convincing from Hartford. Cromwell. Short arm that a bit. This is where Hartford feels like they can win this game. Winning the ball a little bit higher up the field and trying to get out on the break. Swartz was turned away. Van Oekel comes to snatch it. And quickly playing toward right to Cropper. '15th minute on Wednesday Night Soccer. Hartford is eliminated from playoff contention, trying to avoid the wooden spoon that they don't actually hand out in this league, although Devin and I could create that trophy. Birmingham Legion still trying to make the playoffs, and if they feel like they're in good form, who knows? The two sides drastically improved in their expansion season, even from dog days of June and July. Pressure up high. Williams won it, and Barrera slides it across. Williams plays the dynamic ball through that's just a bit too far beyond Bedoya. But Dev, that's what they want to see right there. Offside flag was up.
J.J. Williams has to be smarter in his actions going the other way. Towing the line with that back four. Very smart in Alex Davey and Logan Gadula. But when you're Hartford Athletic and you do break it down, there's a quick little press in the middle of the field. That's well done. But it's that final execution when you move into the attacking third. The weighted pass has to be perfect as you go this way. And to be honest, if he releases it a bit sooner, that's the better look for them going forward. You can already start to see that Hartford Athletic, what they're doing in the middle of the field, allowing Birmingham Legion to sort of lull them to sleep a bit, and then a quick little press. That's something in the arsenal of Jimmy Nielsen that hasn't regularly been used for Athletic all season long, but when they do employ it, it has been a positive movement.
Davey trying to drive it through the defense. Fisher had his pocket picked. That's strong by Williams. Taken away by Culbertson for Birmingham. You and I heard there's a pretty wild watch party going on tonight down in Alabama. All the supporters groups getting together.
It's kind of one of those things every week. I guess my invitation's lost in the mail. I haven't figured that one out yet. Somehow I end up here with you, which is a great situation. However, food, maybe an adult water, you never know. Opportunity to hang out with some of the finer folks.
Don't try and make this better.
As you can tell from some of the elements coming into your screen where to announce that, you know, hovering the 50-55 degree mark, a bit chilly, and more importantly, constant rain all night long. We'll skip off the pitch, and the technical area is going to suffer a bit because the precipitation just coming off, and as an attacker moving forward, that's something you want to go after and keep in your mind when you get a little touch. bring it back across your body and then release it. Challenge these goalkeepers early on. 20 minutes in, nobody's really gone after anyone.
Williams ridden down by Lee.
This is some of what we're talking about, where you bring it back across and just have a go. Nice 1v1 battle. JJ Williams on the sideline. Whoop, forgot something. Raymond Lee, got to keep the legs closed there, buddy. But a great technical defender, recovers quite well, and then when he comes back across, take a little touch and then immediately hit it. That's where you got to get rid of it. That's what he was trying to do. You can see Prosper Kasim tracking back over to help out. Now a nice little set piece opportunity for the Legion, and one that always hits the gray area where you catch the keeper sleeping a little bit. The way that Cody Cropper is going to set up, you got a left footer on it in the likes of Culbertson, which he's starting to eye this out. And if he's sitting there, why not? Have a little go to the near post and challenge him. Of course, Mikey Lopez, beautiful from set pieces as well. He's got some of the big bodies in the middle that's made their way up from the back line.
Lopez fakes, Culbertson drives, and an effort to try and scissor that in off the volley. Well off the mark by Fisher. It's going to be a corner here for Birmingham in the 20th minute.
This isn't a bad idea, and I don't mind the fact that he doesn't go direct at goal. But if you're going to whip it in this nature, you have to attack it. Kyle Fisher, half volley coming across the body, that's really difficult to take out of the air, especially when you've already got the one-on-one marking. Bring your head in this, or you want a little misdirection to at least put it on frame. Worst case scenario, deflection, get a second chance.
Culbertson, and it's Cropper there, but kept by Johnson, who slips it ahead. Chance to send across that DeVitt takes, and Lopez able to win it back for Birmingham. It's Johnson swerving in another cross, and the third effort lifted up and knocked away by Lee. Right in front of Culbertson, who is ready to pounce. Another corner for Birmingham, and 20 minutes in, you have to feel like the momentum is very much swung in the visitors' way. Birmingham has felt like for months one goal and the floodgates could open. Culbertson punched up by Cropper. Bedoya tracks back, knocks it over Warden into space. Barrera. And Gulo saw that run pitter out.
This ball's got to go the other direction, far side of the field. Even if that gets through, you're still in a one-on-one where Legion had started to track back. Too many black shirts. You put this on your left foot, switch the field. Not only are you opening up space for the guy on the far side of the field, you can then bring numbers forward and support, hold up play, and then get back at it. Now again, you can still go in transition as well. But the problem is, you block off your options, you put it down in, you allow Birmingham Legion to close you down.
Davey committed this foul. And another set piece here, Devin, for Birmingham.
Just take a breath. You allow JJ Williams to get set. Kyle Fisher's in the mix. Of course, you still have Brian Wright, who can absolutely jump through the roof of things. That's metaphorical dealing in this beautiful stadium this evening. But again, put something into the mix. Just inside the penalty mark, you hit that gray area, 8 yards out, quick little redirect and go after Cody Cropper.
It's Cromwell this time, dipping over the crossbar. We thought this was our last game of the week. It is not our last game of the week. Tune in for ESPN 3's Wednesday Night Soccer, a Saturday edition, October 19th. You'll close out the 2019 season's final weekend. A home playoff match potentially at stake. Real Monarchs SLC taking on Sacramento Republic FC. Winner probably hosts a playoff match. Loser potentially going into the play-in game the following Wednesday. Catch all the drama Saturday, October 19th on ESPN 3.
I'm all over that. Close the season out. Are you kidding me? Nice little matinee. And they're all getting the opportunity to play each other. Sacramento Republic, Orange County, Real Monarchs, they're all going to do battle at the tail end of this thing.
Played up for Wright, trying to get around Lee. Lee has been a stalwart so far.
Notice the technical ability. That's what we referenced early on, opening 10, 15 minutes. 3 minutes ago, ball comes over his left shoulder, but it's that 40-yard ball to the back post, trailing run from Birmingham Legion, and he still has the wherewithal and skill, to be honest, to bring it across his body, knock it over the end line. That's what you get out of Raymond Lee. By the way, kudos. Maybe Jimmy Nielsen needs to have a conversation with Bob Lilly and what went on, because he was beautiful under the tutelage of that man. Of course, his time split between Rochester Rhinos and then the Pittsburgh Riverhounds in 2018. The minute that I saw Hartford Athletic go after Raymond Lee, I said, yep, that is a beautiful pickup for them.
Lee there again. Williams in pursuit, and he's brought it down. Slid away, but only for a moment. Bedoya, who's on loan from NYCFC. Barrera slipping through. He won't quite get to this. And Angulo has his arms pumping back and forth. He wanted that played into him. There's Matt Van Oekel. He dealt with an injury a year ago in Oklahoma City that really slowed him down. He's also an assistant coach for this side, which led Tom Sohn to say maybe he has the hardest job of anybody. He played 18 games last year, a native of Chesapeake, Virginia, age 33, so he's certainly been around the block, but a real presence and a vocal guy who, on a good day, it looks like he takes up about half the goal.
How interesting is it that both Matt Van Oekel and Matt Pickens out of Nashville SC, goalkeeping coaches for their squads?
Yeah.
I mean, these are guys that are probably the more talented all around the league. And that's not a discredit to anyone like John McCarthy or, oh wow, who am I blanking out of Phoenix now? And that's going to cause a problem when the
Zach
Phoenix
Lubin.
fans hear me. There you go. Thank you very much. The Western Conference contingent will be at me this weekend. But it's a true testament to not only their ability to get the job done in between the pipes, but to lead others around them, unselfish in nature, and to guide everybody else, because they're not just doing an individualistic job. It's helping out on set pieces, getting the back line in order. That's some of the resurgence Tom Sohn talked about, where they were getting so much better in terms of chemistry. And does it start from the back line? Yes, but you still have to have proper communication. That all starts with your goalkeeper.
Cromwell, another set piece, and it's Cropper this time, diving over the top, punching it away, and it comes to Barrera, but goalkeeper had been interfered with. Doyle smack it back. Talk about one keeper, let's talk about another. Cody Cropper came out of the Ipswich Town youth setup onto Southampton, then the MK Dons in England. Ultimately came to New England, playing for the Revs. 36 starts there. He's on a week-to-week loan right now from New England.
People forget that for Cody Cropper, he was one of those guys that may or may not have been the heir apparent to that Tim Howard, Nick Raimondo era, and who was going to step in, Brad Guzan as well, where repping regularly U20, U23s, Jurgen Klinsmann was high and mighty on him. And of course, 28 caps for the youth national team doesn't hurt to go alongside of it.
Elsewhere tonight, playoff race heating up, especially for Birmingham at the bottom of the East. St. Louis has taken a lead 1-0 over Loudoun. That game has just reached halftime over on ESPN+. Dalgard forcing his way through, giving the referee something to think about, and they say play on. Well, this Hartford crowd doesn't appreciate that.
The big question there is, was he out in front of the player or did he trail in behind? This looked like a pretty good shoulder-shoulder 50-50 inside the box. You're always going to have to be careful as a defender, but if you have the opportunity, get your shoulder out in front and just body him off the ball a little bit. That's the direction you want to go. Looked like Birmingham Degen was pretty good in their actions.
Kasim played it out. Culbertson bouncing toward right, got by Kasim. There's Dalgard, 3 years in the Danish First Division, came to Oklahoma City, had an amazing first year for Jimmy Nielsen there, but the season since not quite as statistically eye-popping. Well, interesting to see DeVitt, the player, kind of slides forward into that holding midfield role in possession.
As usual, you have climbed inside of my head and are starting to take out all my positive talking points. Funny how you also have the luxury, kind of what you see out of Birmingham Legion, how Jimmy Nielsen has got guys like Logan Gadula on loan, where you can have the ability to do that. When you talk about players earlier on this season, Rasmussen, he actually started on the back line as a center back because they didn't have the ability in the middle of the field. When you pick up guys like Daniel Bedoya, obviously Ryan Williams coming in. Then you can start to explode going forward and find the impactful players like Sebastian Dalgard. That's a good challenge. Well done coming back across the body. Watch the shoulder, gets inside of him. That's enough for me. It's not behind, he gets square up with him. Sebastian Dalgard's gonna disagree because he had the speed, he was out in front, but there's good trailing speed from Birmingham Legion just at the tail end of it to close it down.
Ismir Peknik, the referee, who had a pretty good angle of that if you stare at the background on that shot. Barrera, years passed under Paul Buckle in Sacramento. Played for Adam Smith at Fresno last year, missed the playoffs. Not much to this. It was winding wide. Matt Van Oekel. In Birmingham, you almost get to the point of the tale of two seasons. Van Oekel did miss a little bit of time. Trevor Spangenberg took the gig for 5 games. Van Oekel took it back. Hartford trying to play a bit direct here. It's a little bit behind Angulo. Van Oekel, that's a bit heavy.
It's a really good look at the shape in the middle by Birmingham Legion. Mentioned that Asiedu would be able to hold serve in the middle of the field. Unfortunately, gets on the wrong side of this for the referee, but a good representation of what the Legion are trying to do. They're allowing Asiedu to just rotate side to side. Daniel Johnson, Mikey Lopez not tracking back as deep as we've seen in matches past. They're having a lot more width, though. They know the amount of talent with Dalgard and Barrera on the outside, so the responsibilities are lying there. And a load of work to be done in the middle of the field by their holding midfielder. And the question is, though, is once they do get this thing to turn over, can they all get on the same page going forward? That's where they've been lacking. Not a lot of movement offensively for the middle of the field for the Legion. It's good defensive shape, but then long balls over the top, just not matriculating in anything positive.
This nodded over by Fisher. It's going to be a corner for Hartford Athletic. Birmingham has had so many set pieces so far. All finally winds down to the other end.
If you're the Legion, you want to keep an eye on guys like Alex Davey, Raymond Lee, even Seb DeVitt get involved here. Ryan Williams is going to whip this in. Beautiful right foot, and you can see a lot of black shirts on the front. Expect a long ball to the back.
And there it is, toward the penalty spot, diving effort. Kasim one further. Second ball cracked over the top, and Culbertson got pushed in from behind.
Fortunately for Jose Angulo, gets caught in behind here a little bit on Culbertson. Always love it when the referees tell me you got to go straight up. Yeah, you come out here, do Mach 1 with your hair on fire when the ball gets whipped in, try and stop your momentum and jump straight up in the air. Of course, when it's moving side to side, they have no problem getting in the way of that vital pass going forward. You just knock it right off the ref, and excuse me.
It'll be a free kick here for Hartford Athletic. Hey, fans, you can continue to enjoy the USL on ESPN through the 2022 season. USL excited to announce that the championship and League One remain with the leader in sports 3 more years. ESPN Plus continues to be the home of all things USL, and at least 19 games a year will be featured on the ESPN family of networks just like this one, including 9 games on ESPN Deportes. You can continue to follow, support, and watch your club on ESPN and ESPN Plus. And League One getting a couple new teams added in. New England and Inter Miami are adding teams to USL League One. We'll talk about that a bit at halftime, but also we're at the League One semifinal stage, Devin. North Texas looks like they are out beyond everybody.
It's pretty much been that way all season, hasn't it?
It has, and yet Josh Eastern, one of the announcers for USL League One, tweeting out earlier, all 3 teams in the playoff bracket have beaten North Texas at some point this year. So let's go with, I'm not going to say it's predetermined. This might be just a bit beyond right.
Make me place a bet. I'm going to go with North Texas.
Yeah,
However, trailing right in there, Lansing Ignite has been impressive too. They've had some quality showings. One of those aforementioned that was able to take North Texas down earlier. Just a beautiful showing of these USL Championship teams, affiliate squads below them, what they've been able to do, how you get guys like Pepe playing up top, scoring 1 million goals, getting a chance in Open Cup games, and not necessarily repping all the way through that system. But that's what they want. They want the opportunity to continue to give these guys experiences at a younger level, continue to push them up through the ranks.
Well, I'll bet against John Harkes in Greenville when hell freezes over, if I'm being honest.
Pretty sure he's got you on speed dial by now.
He did a great job with that group. Led Cincinnati through their expansion a few years ago. Hartford and Birmingham in their expansion season this year. 2 of the 7 expansion teams in the USL Championship.
And this is some of the stuff that Hartford Athletic is struggling with right now. Just a moment ago, Semdevid opportunity come all the way to his left. That's your playmaker, number 46. Daniel Bedoya, who's coming all the way back. Why? He's frustrated. Does not have the ball at his feet enough. And yes, it explores more options for Wyan Williams. And well done in the buildup here. But still, when you have a direct option that isn't going to cause you any problems, if you go the other way, utilize it.
This stays onside. Angulo tries to jump up at it, launched himself like a missile. This will get out for a goal kick in the end.
You still get a chance out of it, but it's lucky. Because when this ball comes all the way to the top of the 18, this should have been won by the visiting squad. 50-50 ball in the air, sprayed in. You got to go get it. You cannot let Angulo step in behind. That's a conversation for Kyle Fisher and Razak Cromwell to have. Just too much separation with a guy who's too tactful on the ball.
Bounces into Dalgard. Angulo is widened out. Angulo again. Williams spraying to the opposite side. Gadula. Can Hartford swing it across here? They can. Deflect straight out to Williams. Couple players dive in at this. First DeVitt and then Bedoya. Ball maybe a hair late and definitely a hair too long, seeking out Ward. Fisher drops it in, Kasim, and now Johnson, followed by Williams, finds J.J. Williams with the width. We're in the 37th minute here. Birmingham Legion 10th place in the very difficult Eastern Conference. They're in a tie with Charleston Battery, each having 3 games to go. Birmingham looks like they're going to have the tiebreaker on their side, should they both end up on the same number of points. But got to the point where you're hearing Birmingham say, okay, no more margin for error. We know other teams might drop points. St. Louis looks like they won't tonight. They're in 9th. Charleston playing on the weekend, but I mean, there's really a point where you go, if we get all 9 points, we know we're in. So let's just focus on that.
start first and foremost on the road. Elements at play, not necessarily utilizing all your strengths to your advantage. What does that mean for Birmingham Legion? Well, a lot of guys, just like the boys in the green shirts, tracking out of their natural spaces. JJ Williams drifting back in, and got to speed the rate of play up a little bit. There's a good look at him coming all the way back, where when he does track back in, first little touch, and then you go. He can't take 2, 3, 4, 5 touches and then allow Hartford to hit the reset button on their defensive shape. When you can go the other direction much faster and speed this game up, that's where Birmingham is best. And to be honest, that's where Hartford, it's probably at their weak points, where you move guys forward like Raymond Lee and Harry Swartz on the right-hand side. Try and play in behind them. Rotate them out. Push Prosper Kasim up higher and allow your playmakers like Daniel Johnson and Mikey Lopez to have some fun in the middle of the field.
Williams, there's an overlap arriving, with the cross lined in. Brought down by JJ Williams, and DeVitt, I think, thought that was a handball. He won't get that call. Kasim hampered by Bedoya. Looking for that dynamic pass. Dalgard, that ball had eyes.
Tell me that wasn't one of the biggest talking points you took out of the conversation with Tom Stone when talking about Prosper Kasim, how too many a time he's looking to do more than necessary. All he had to do was play this to his left shoulder, and Birmingham Legion is off to the races. Instead, second, third, fourth touch, he's looking for that world-class ball, and instead gives it up to the opposition.
Kasim, the number 10 for Birmingham tonight. This was a 2-2 draw when these teams met down in Birmingham over the summer months in June. This game maybe has the feeling it's going to start opening up a bit. Lee. Dalgard. Raymond Lee again for Sem DeVitt. Williams able to get a cross away. Nothing special. Barrera knocks it wide. Spinning around, Harry Swartz. Dalgard back to Lee. Barrera. Play continues here. Angulo spins, knocks it across, and Van Oekel, an athletic dive.
They had numbers for a second chance opportunity as well. If Van Oekel coughs it up, that's not something you're regularly going to see. Well done by Angulo, just to hold things up here a little bit. I like the spot by Danny Barrera. Notice he doesn't rotate out initially. He just slowly brings it, so he holds the runner and allows Angulo to occupy the space that he initially had about 3 or 4 seconds before. That's a good job by the outside midfielder to come all the way across the 18, but not necessarily pick things up right away. Just allow the play to develop. You're Hartford Athletic. You have to continue to push things that way, because they have not been impressive enough in the final third. There's a lot of playmakers on this team that you just aren't utilizing in the appropriate manner.
Williams trying to line up Dalgard, and things slow a bit to a crawl here for Birmingham. Nice give and go. Wright getting it back from Lopez. And Wright tries to turn the corner. Comes off of Davey. Yet another Birmingham Legion set piece. As coming up at halftime here on ESPN News, we'll take a look at news and notes from around the USL Championship. Give you your first half highlights, give you the statistical breakdown, and Devin tells you everything you need to know. It's all coming up here at the break. Culbertson. Sort of hung up there like a changeup almost.
I get it with the wind. It's just, I don't like the look. It's the second time they've shown us that. There is too much height on this back line for Hartford Athletic. You're allowing one of their best in the air, and Alex Davey, to just go up and win this ball.
Well, Lee's going to take this. And the cross by Barrera gets knocked out. Handle ricochet up. Kept by the Legion as Cromwell started it forward. Barrera has to step back. Johnson arriving. And Kasim goes down. Alciedu. Barrera. Williams, who previously started Ottawa, who just clinched the playoffs, Devin.
Happy for them. Popovich doing his magic out there. Just joining us, one of the guys who really struggled to kind of get things going in 2018. Couldn't necessarily play the way that he wanted to. We've had multiple conversations over the past 2 years about that, but things finally starting to click. And we kind of talked about that pregame off air about how who could make a run at this thing outside of maybe some of the big boys at the top of the Eastern Conference. Ottawa Fury is one of those teams for me. They've got a boatload of talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball, but do they always show up? Not necessarily, but recently it's gotten a lot better.
Dev, I look at the Eastern Conference and I think, all right, 6 heavyweights and 4 sleepers who could all win a few games. I mean, the East this year is a total bear. The East winning the USL Championship final each of the last 4 years. Last team from the Western time zone, even beyond the Central time zone, I guess, that's won it is Sacramento in 2014.
Expansion team.
That's true. Since then, a Louisville repeat. New York Red Bulls 2, Rochester, Birmingham hoping they can just be in the tournament at the end of this. Play-in game on the opening Wednesday of the playoffs, and if they can get by there, if they get in, perhaps they'll find a way toward a USL Championship final run. Halftime here, Devin, scoreless.
Conversation between both managers. How do we get our more dynamic players on the ball? Jimmy Nielsen got to find a way to get Daniel Bedoya. He's been really impressive in the middle of the field, just doesn't have enough touches on it, but a lot of one-touch passing coming out of him that has sprung the boys on the outside. Prosper Kasim, Daniel Johnson, Mikey Lopez. Have a conversation at halftime. Get on the same page because they are a force to be reckoned with. They just weren't in the opening 45 minutes.
Well, the radar tonight looked a little bit like a Jackson Pollock painting. All kinds of colors. Hartford Athletic at home trying to finish their season off on the right note. But Birmingham looking to get back in the playoff hunt. They're in 10th right now, and a point may not do it. We've got news and notes highlights all coming up. Back at Dillon Stadium, where rain continues to pound down on the state of Connecticut. Hartford Athletic and Birmingham Legion scoreless at the halftime break here on Wednesday Night Soccer on ESPN News. Welcome back, everybody. Mike Watts, Devin Kerr here. Devin, in that first half, neither side really created, and I think if you're looking at Hartford, you're asking Bedoya to be the guy who does that.
25 touches on the ball, 21 of which were first-time passes that allowed this team to get forward. Over 90% passing accuracy. When a manager tells you this is one of our dynamic playmakers, you got to find a way to get him on the ball, and they just didn't do that in the opening 45 minutes. That's okay. He's smart enough at halftime. He'll sit down, have a conversation with the outside midfielders. That's where you need help, where when they play the ball in, play off of him in that one-touch balls, and then Angulo up top can go the other direction. That's kind of what you saw for Birmingham Legion at the tail end of things, where J.J. Williams was starting to speed up play a little bit, and you could get Mikey Lopez and Daniel Johnson in the midfield, but it has to be faster. The clip rate has to be higher if either of these teams want to hit the back of the net.
Well, the USL Championship playoffs actually begin just 2 weeks from tonight on ESPN+. It's the play-in round, but USL League One, that starts a lot sooner.
Whips it in, finds the back post. What a finish.
All these experiences are new, and the new experience is always the most exciting because it's something that you've never been a part of before. And I think that's one of the biggest draws of Greenville is to come in and to be a part of the beginning of something great.
Well, Greenville has officially been awarded a professional soccer team.
There is a big soccer presence in the upstate, and they just needed a team to rally behind. Like, oh wow, like this is actually, this is real. And I still didn't really grasp how big it was going to be.
Racing the other way. Cuts it back. Good look. Shot coming. And in Carlos Gomez, his fourth in 2 matches. And does that seal the deal on the 3 points for the Triumph?
A club is more than just the players, coaches, and front office. It's the fans. It's a whole club. We're new. No one really knows what we're about. They don't know, what we have to offer, and showing them that we offer more than just 90 minutes a week, on a Friday or Saturday night, says everything.
He's going to go at goal. Shot and a goal! That has to be on the goal of the week.
Now get some time. Sam Warner, the beauty.
Goal! Lula with the bicycle!
Oh, can you see that coming?
Great save by Putnam on the goal line.
And Taylor with a beautiful strike. Are you kidding?
Cero Acero here on ESPN News. Halftime between Hartford Athletic and Birmingham Legion FC. For Wednesday Night Soccer with Devin Kerr, Mike Watts, let's take a look at what's been making headlines around the USL Championship and League One. In the Eastern Conference, North Carolina, Dave Sarkin's boys, Ottawa Fury, both in. 4 teams still left for the last 2 spots, including Birmingham. Still wild out in the West. Las Vegas making a real surge with Eric Winalda at the helm. And Devin, Inter Miami, New England Revolution, welcome to League One, guys.
Nice to see them getting involved here. And how about Jason Kreis, part of the technical staff there for Inter Miami, now is going to have his hands full even more, keeping an eye on the academy, what's going on with their MLS team. But now, let's go have a little fun in League One and do battle with the boys. And saw North Texas SC, we talked about that. Greenville, some of that going on. Will that change in 2020? Bet you they believe it will.
Yeah, well, New England Revolution so close to turning it all around this year with Bruce Arena, and they're going to have a League One team as well. So it'll be interesting to see how New England decides to go about sending players about. We've got first half highlights here from rainy Hartford when we come back to Wednesday Night Soccer. Wednesday Night Soccer on ESPN News. Hartford Athletic at home taking on Birmingham Legion. Halftime, Mike and Devin back with you. Let's take a look at the highlights, Devin.
Brian Wright trying to test the overall disposition of Cody Cropper and exactly what he's doing. There was a little bit of space on the near post, but unfortunately this escapes from their talisman up top. The Canadian just pushes it over the border. And then how about this time around? Sebastian Dalgard one-on-one. Quick little touch inside. Penalty shout? No, it's not. Keep an eye on the shoulder. Good job by Dalgar, but it's just in behind. Is it from behind? No, it's not. The last little push gets him out in front, and it's enough for a 50-50 shoulder charge. This was concerning, though. Jose Angulo splitting the center backs of Kyle Fisher and Razak Kwamo. On the tail end of it, you'll see Culbertson drifting over because one of their center backs had stepped up. There has to be a better communication factor. Birmingham Legion struggled towards the tail end of the first half defensively, which is funny because they started to get better on the offensive side.
And if there's good news, that ended up being a goal kick. If that finds its way into the net, perhaps it's overlooked that was a handball by Angulo. So for Birmingham, you really can't understate the value of these points. It's possible St. Louis could drop points here tonight. And Birmingham trying to keep a playoff position with 3 games to go. Underway in the second half here on Wednesday Night Soccer. Hartford long since eliminated from playoff contention, but a team that closes with 3 home games, individuals going for contracts, players trying to put this jersey on and represent Hartford just the right way down the stretch, and a team trying to find a good model for the next year. They hope that they're able to turn this thing around. They're in their expansion season. Birmingham as well struggled out the gate, but an incredible turnaround by any standard has put themselves in 10th with the top 10 teams making the playoffs and the top 6 avoiding the play-in game. For Hartford, this is the second of a 3-game homestand to close the year. They finish with the Rowdies. And one could imagine that could be a game that has a lot of seeding implications on October 19th, the final Saturday in the USL Championship regular season. Birmingham closes on Sunday, believe it or not. Handball here.
Spoiler alert, it will. Tampa Bay Rowdies with just 2 matches to go. Of course, the one against Hartford Athletic. And how is this going to shape up for Neil Collins? His boys stumbling at the tail end of this Eastern Conference 2019 season. They'll get the opportunity on the 12th to go against Indy 11, who of course is finally back in the win column.
This is good from Swartz. Angulo got the shot away and rings it way wide.
Good step out of the middle of the field by Ryan Williams, who occupies some of the black jerseys from Birmingham Legion. Angulo recognizes it. Harry Swartz, another one that needs to be more active here in the second half. Ryan Williams comes across his body, and you could just see the trailing run coming all the way back over of Kyle Fisher. Not exactly sure. Does he stay with Ryan Williams or rotate to Angulo? That opens up a window for Angulo. Just can't get off the shot.
Angulo dealt with injuries at the outset, to the point where they felt like they still hadn't seen the best of him. Only 5 goals this year. He's leading the line on front of Bedoya. Cross lifted away, kept by Hartford. Kept by Swartz. Barrera swinging across in toward the back post. Chance to finish. Lifted up. Angulo saved off the line. Asiedu dropping in and helping Birmingham prevent the opener in this game. And flicked upfield the other way. Prosper Kasim trying to get another touch. That's the biggest highlight we've had yet, and it comes in the first 3 minutes of the second half. Lopez for Kasim, eyeballing the cross, floating it, drop down right, can he finish? This gets deflected away, and now Swartz under pressure. Turned it back to Kasim, who drives it in front, and that lifted high up away from J.J. Williams and speared out for a Birmingham throw. Culbertson, Legion looking for another opportunity here. Bounces out to Ryan Williams. And take it back by Asiedu. Johnson. Wright played it wide. Devin nods in approval, taken away by Lee. Anderson Asiedu's there, former first-round pick of Atlanta, just in 2019, believe it or not. Was released midway through the year. Couple good chances here, Dev.
End-to-end stuff for both these teams. And start with Hartford Athletic. Guess who? Danny Barrera. Quick little ball to the back post. And it's really well done. It's actually Akeem Ward who drops in. That's their outside right back. Mid-season acquisition. As we mentioned, DC United, Loudoun United boy coming over. Really well done here, where he recognizes not only is the goalkeeper not going to be able to get to it, but the rotation by Fisher and Cromwell has them out of sorts. That's what you get when these guys are all really clicking. It's the defensive shape that Tom Sohn talks about, how as the season has gone on, they have gotten much better. Akeem Ward, by the way, came in right around that time. They had that 14-day off period. You know, a guy who, kind of hit the gray area for Loudoun and DC. Actually played 48 minutes earlier back in May in a game against Toronto, but unfortunately, just 6 bench appearances, most of his time spent with Ryan Martin and those boys, and even when Ryan Martin came in, started utilizing him less after Richie Williams left. Looked like the writing was on the wall, but for him, he has definitely made a home at that outside back position for the Legion.
Ward's 10th start this year. Boy, he covered a lot of ground. I assume that had to be a central number 6 getting back. We'll see what Williams can put together on this upcoming set piece. And the Englishman got over the top of Van Oekel. There's a little something extra going on there. Angulo can't quite believe it.
You basically got the same thing on the other side of the ball, but it came out of Alex Davey, who drifted back in, and their center back, their mid-season signee, came in around the May-June timeframe when everything was starting to head in the right direction for Hartford Athletic. Here's a good look at number 44, and Matt Van Oekel trying to do battle together in the middle of the box. Alex Davey with a ridiculous pedigree. Chelsea Academy was actually on a first-team contract for the London squad, and FA Cup winner back in 2012, the youth anyway. Won the U21 Premier League Championship in 2014 as well, and spent some time with Cheltenham Town and just never really made a home once he drifted apart from the London squad. One of the ones that Jimmy Nielsen tells us is most likely going to be part of their plans next year.
Player he alluded to being on contract in 2020. Said a beast in the air, great communicator. English-born Scott, who played on their under-19 side. This will be a free kick for Hartford.
What's good what you get out of Alex Davey as well. It's not just the leadership on the back line and willingness to challenge things from an aerial standpoint, but it's the distribution, just like you saw coming out of the back, where he can find his playmakers in the middle of the field and help this thing start getting going in the right direction.
Barrera's making a field-long run. He's not the only one. Bedoya joining. Angulo facing up. Lee had company, found the width, cross-driven toward Barrera, speared away. Cromwell had it under control. This should be with Hartford. It is. We were asking, is the core of this Hartford team good enough with the right additions to be the answer for next year? And what we heard was, I don't know how much new blood we need. Both these teams surely have options on a significant number of players. So you do sort of wonder what next year looks like, Dev.
You also can't rely, you have to use that word very carefully, but you can't rely on guys like Logan Gdula and Daniel Bedoya. Why? Because they're talented, and they should eventually be making another step and getting opportunities with their home club. That's not necessarily the case right now. Logan Gdula struggling to break into FC Cincinnati. Daniel Bedoya the same way at NYCFC. And they've got a couple looks here and there, but the offseason will really be the key test as to whether or not those organizations are going to keep them around. If they don't, that's money in the bad for Hartford Athletic. I'm going after them, trying to find a way to bring them in on a regular basis. But those are two key factors where, especially in times like tonight, Logan Gdula sitting alongside Alex Davey, Daniel Bedoya, as we mentioned, trying to be that playmaker underneath Angulo. Two really key positions that you won't necessarily have the luxury to lean on in the future.
Wonderful run. Kasim drives it in front. Kasim will get a second bite of the apple, this time lofting toward the back post this time. Comes out to Culbertson. Clever touch in. Culbertson driving it aside. And there's space here for a shot. This gets deflected out toward Kasim, whose boot got a little bit high and extended into Swartz. Free kick, Hartford.
And Brian Wright doesn't like this on the tail end, and it's Prosper Kasim having the same conversation with the two of them are pretty much occupying the same space by Asiadu all the way on the left-hand side. Brian Wright was asking for this ball to be knocked in, and Prosper Kasim just stretching his boot out there against Harry Swartz. Well done, and the change of pace by the outside back in Harry Swartz. Quick little touch and trying to get around the outside, go the other direction. Things just 10 minutes into the second half, really starting to open up here between both squads. High little press coming now from Daniel Johnson. Well done.
Got most of the way home. Legion do take over in the attacking half. And it's Johnson again. Asiadu nearly snuck through for Kasim, who's moved a little bit further to the left here to start the second half. Cromwell circles all the way back. They found him through an Inter-Allies combine in Ghana. I feel like he's adjusted really well. Taken away by Bedoya. Chance now, slid in by Angulo. Totally against the run of play. Hartford Athletic lead at home.
As good as this kid has been in the middle of the field all night long. Anderson and Asiadu were really struggling with this outlet pass. This is a no-no by their number 6, playing in the number 6 for Birmingham Legion. Tom Stone's going to be rolling over on the sideline with utter despair that they don't play this ball faster. We saw the press by Daniel Johnson. This time, look at all the green jerseys surrounding him. Really well done. Triangular play. Ryan Williams comes in through, and Angulo just peels off. Daniel Bedoya just holds space. Quick little touch to him and knows that that overlapping run by their ball striker up top is going to happen. 53 in the back of the net for that man and his USL Championship career. But none can be sweeter right now than the go-ahead goal against the Birmingham Legion.
Angulo's 6th of the 2019 season. And these Hartford fans are up and bouncing now. Angulo, one of the early signings for Hartford Athletic. And he's paid another dividend here. But don't forget, the Athletic have given up 79 goals this year, so it's far from over. Culbertson pushes ahead. It's Kasim. Birmingham had been getting a lot of chances. Kasim sending that beyond Williams. Dalgard able to keep it through the challenge. And overrun by J.J. Williams. You know, think about Jimmy Nielsen taking the job in Hartford. You know, it's a club that was going to have to start 8 games on the road. They're renovating this great stadium that's, you know, decades and decades of history to it. I spoke with Janusz Mihalik a bit about it, and he regaled me with some of those memories. They really do stand out. But they finally get it done. They started at Rentschler Field, which is the home to UConn football, 10,000 plus for their opening game. And Jimmy just said, look, for the first time in 26 years, I didn't have a job. So I'm trying to learn how to look after myself, update my license, be around the Sporting Kansas City Academy a little bit. But this job specifically excited him. I'm interested to see how things progress for him in Hartford.
Some of the interesting interviews that he was giving after their first home match at the Rent earlier on this season, after that 8-game stretch that they started on the road, was he said that it's one of the most, if not the most, impressive atmosphere that he's ever been around. Now that's conversation coming out of guys that have played at Millwall, Aalborg, Leicester, of course, a beautiful career with Sporting KC. And to go that far in his comments gives you an idea of what they're able to build in this community. And Yeah, the results haven't exactly been that great, but we talked about how difficult it's been. So many players in and out, the injuries, the slow start away from home. They're just hoping all of that is not going to be the same show that you see next year. I can promise you this, it won't be. The variables are going to be totally different. They'll get a chance to have that even keel in terms of the overall schedule. I promise you this, they're not going to be playing 8 playoff teams to start the year. The boys in the USL Championship offices are going, Jimmy, we got you.
They might play 8 playoff teams, but they won't all be on the road. That's the least they can do. Culbertson trying to help Birmingham equalize. That's a bit off the mark. Siadu keeping, and then knocked down by Angulo, so it's a free kick for Birmingham. Interesting position on the field. And what's more, Hartford probably the largest underserved soccer market in the country coming into last year. So if you're talking about bringing professional soccer to a market that has been underserved for a long time, and don't get me wrong, you know, Marone and Reed, and you go through the great coaches at UConn, but nothing compares. Cross lifted and cleared away by Davey. Slipped into a wide space again. What can Culbertson do in the run of play? He whips this across, bobbled and handled by Cody Cropper.
If you're the Legion, something to think about with some of these chances that are coming your way from dead ball situations. Got to keep an eye on the top of the box. Daniel Johnson left all alone. And I know they were trying to play fast initially, but just a quick little touch, play it square across the top of the 18. And let the Georgia native unleash. That's what you saw out of his time, though brief, with the Chicago Fire over a 2-year stint, and he's had some wonder strikes for the Birmingham Legion. Opening couple matches, beautiful goal, and that's what Sohn is looking for down the stretch here. Down 1 with 30 minutes to play. Thought there was a golden opportunity with St. Louis. They were behind. That's not the case anymore, and I can promise you, Charleston Battery and Mike Anhauser at home are just twiddling their thumbs, waiting to get back to action.
St. Louis taking on Loudoun tonight. That's become a 3-2 game in the final quarter hour. Hartford looking for another. Bedoya! Oh my goodness, what a hit! Well, that's a permanent memory at Dillon Stadium. 2-0 Hartford.
Do not sleep on Hartford Athletic, and this is why. Mats Jorgensen is the one who has been uncorking from distance all season long. Coaches took notice, but we said the instrumental piece for Hartford Athletic had to be Daniel Bedoya. You saw it in the starting 11, and at halftime, appropriate adjustments had to be made to put the playmaker in a spot to succeed. How do you like me now? 30 yards out from distance against one of the better goalkeepers in all the USL Championship. Take notice, my friends. He puts this where nobody else can get to it except all you people at home sitting on your DVR enjoying the view.
His second goal for Hartford. Devin comes on at halftime. Devin says, oh, only 25 touches. They have to get him the ball more. He did it all on his own. What a hit. And now Birmingham trailing by 2. Maybe not for long. That's sent wayward. And everyone tells us underestimate Hartford at your own peril. And it's happened again tonight. Let's not forget, however, that Hartford led 2-0 against Swope Park, who are joining them in the cellar of the Eastern Conference on the weekend, and then coughed it up in the last 10 minutes. So long way to go here.
Definitely a double-edged sword for Jimmy Nielsen's boys, where, to be honest, earlier on this season, they were a second-half team. They were the team that just, okay, opening 45 minutes, we're going to stand over here. You go have some fun. Target practice on our goalkeeper and see how that works out. Second half, totally different, and they kicked it into high gear. But now it is a totally different tale. You're out in front by 2. 25-plus minutes to go against a team, mind you, that is going to be really hungry here. Now they are going to have to follow suit in the same nature. How? Your playmakers. Daniel Johnson, talked about Mikey Lopez, Asiado in the middle of the field. Prosper Kasim is a really technical player that connects the dots better than any of them. He just hasn't had the luxury. Brian Wright and J.J. Williams almost non-existent in the second half here.
Well, the ones who came out have their ticket. They can say, hey, I was there. I think many, many others will eventually also say they were there. That's bopped away by Cropper. Good night for the Elm City Casuals. The 19th Regiment. Devin, am I missing anybody?
Mad Hat Massive. Go follow them on Twitter. They're a fun read. I promise you. That's that spirit you want and a culture you want to create by that supporters group you see on the far touchline on that right-hand side. They will beat those drums all night long. And kudos to them, mind you. We talked about how the players are going to have to adjust the elements. How about the fans? Rain, 50 degrees or so. That wasn't necessarily on the forecast earlier today, but really well done by all of them staying around, and maybe the first half didn't go to their liking. Out in front by 2 now.
Looking for their 4th win at Dillon Stadium. It'd be their 5th home win and potentially their 7th win of the year. Johnson slipped away from him and one step further with Gadula. Culbertson the throw. This will take a couple of bounces. And this hammered from distance by Asiadu.
Sense the frustration just on the look coming off of Asiadu's face. This was the look we talked about where you'd like to see someone pull the trigger. Unfortunately, that's some of the frustration boiling over by the holding midfielder. Giveaway on the second goal, not his best performance of the evening we've seen so far. Plenty of time, though, for them to get back into this. Just put it down, showcase some of that beautiful tactical play we saw just a few matches back.
Kasim. And again, Birmingham have pushed into the final third, and things have become a little bit stagnant. Return to Johnson. Johnson on the move. Lifted away. Davies been quite good.
You're not going to notice something in that play there, but with Daniel Johnson bringing this across his body, they're giving him that shot because he's all left foot. They know what the scouting report read, and when he brings this quick little rotation 1-2 play, I like it, but they knew exactly where he was going to try and go, and it was on the left foot. Well done pushing him to his right.
Dalgard collapses. Stares back at Ismir Pekmik, the referee. Birmingham team that's under some really strong leadership. Morgan Copes, Doug Hicks. Look at their staff. Jay Heaps comes in from New England, where I think everybody really was introduced to him from a coaching perspective. Goes into the front office in Birmingham, brings in Tom Sohn, a well-known coach with DC United and then with Vancouver as an interim coach. All the pieces were there for Birmingham, and it's this incredible market that, for the TV ratings kind of lookers like me, they're always at the top regardless of sport, whether it's like NASCAR, horse racing, or the NBA Finals, or Premier League Soccer, or the USL. Always up there. Great market. They're trailing 2-0 here. Swartz looking for Barrera. There's an appeal for a handball, went unheard. Excellent dicing ball played through by Wright. Can Birmingham get back in this now? Williams denied by Cropper. And Ray Lee went stride for stride and widened him out.
This is why they brought him in. Columbus Crew went and got him. Stone said, I want my hands on this guy. Beautiful movement when he was at Kentucky. And this is where he's at his best. We said, when he drops back in, quick little touch, and then you play off of him. Put the ball out in front, let J.J. Williams go get it. But that trailing run by Raymond Lee just on the tail end of things. He's made quite a few saves tonight.
This lifted up. It's just a punch from Cropper, and Williams sends it further. Settled by Ward. We have a jaw-dropping result. There were 4 games tonight. 3 had playoff implications in the USL Championship, and one of them has just gone final. More on that in a moment. Johnson on the cut. Johnson denied. Bedoya, who had an all-world goal already tonight, helping to win it back. Devin, you just saw the news. Loudoun knocking off St. Louis.
This is an absolute shocker, especially considering that St. Louis FC had gotten the go-ahead goal from Lewis Hilton. The second came from Tyler Blackwood. They were out in front 3-2. Antonio Bustamante, he's another one of the youngsters floating around the USL Championship that would like to be involved in one of these matches right here. There's their playmaker, Daniel Johnson, tackled just at the top of the 18. And as they start to counterattack, Semdevic gets taken down from behind by Mikey Lopez. Elvis Amo, in the 93rd minute, has come back to give Loudoun United the victory. They have now taken down St. Louis FC and Tampa Bay Rowdies in back-to-back matches. And when you transfer back to this one for a second, don't be surprised if you see Sohn going to the bench and the likes of Femi or Joseph Holland into the middle for Mikey Lopez. They got to find a way to put a bit more complexity in the middle of the field to simplify it on the offensive end of the ball.
This has potential. Prosper Kasim lays it along, flick forward, right again, and a chance to whistle a shot through on the turn. Cropper is there. Lopez wearing the captain's armband tonight from 20 yards out.
This is what they should be doing. Quick little one-touch play. They are so capable of it. Triangle motion, this is the stuff that goes all the way back to the training ground. You learn this as a young kid, and some of the same drills you do over and over and over again just becomes ingrained in your mind. Really like to see more of that.
Barrera. Lee takes over now, and on the cross, looking for Angulo. Ball ricochets free as he tried to hit it to the short post. And how quickly can Birmingham get out the other way? It's an expert first touch by Wright. There's going to be a change coming. We had heard Eric Avila was dealing with maybe a little bit of an illness coming into tonight. So he didn't start, but he is available off the bench and he'll come on now.
They're not exactly happy with how things are shaping out on that right-hand side for Birmingham Legion. Kyle Culbertson's going to take a seat and just watch to see if they decide to shift the pieces here. Mikey Lopez has been utilized at the outside back position. You could easily switch Akeem Ward over to the left, push Mikey Lopez to the right back, and then move Avila into the middle of the field. Said that they needed a bit more playmaking ability. They could also drop 5 in there. Again, the Legion have shown you a lot of looks this season. It just depends what direction they want to head.
That was a light touch, but enough to draw the foul. Avila played for El Chalice last year in Las Vegas. El Chalice recounting to us at the time that Avila was in San Diego. He called him, said, I need you to come and help our team out. Was one of the pieces that helped them down the stretch last year. DeVitt shown a yellow card. Ismir Pekmik hasn't really had a lot of work to do in this game yet.
Sam DeVitt very busy though. It's only going to get worse as this offensive unit tries to kick it into high gear just inside of 20 minutes to go. Someone on that technical staff is going to know what's going on right now for the Birmingham Legion. They're going to recognize that St. Louis FC has dropped points. And yes, you're down by 2. So the opportunity maybe go get 3. Is it still there? Yes.
Maybe a chance to get a shot away. DeVitt not so lucky.
more importantly, you at least got to find a way to get one out of this. Just to show that you have the character with a couple matches to go. When push comes to shove, you can push yourself to another level and find a way to dig down deep and go get a point, especially when you're on the road.
Floats all the way down. Shifting in the back line. Pressure rising now from Hartford. DeWitt goes into Johnson. And played through now. Bedoya couldn't get it through Asiadu. Corner is coming. This week, U.S. Soccer and Think Taylor are working to promote concussion education during Concussion Awareness Week, October 6th through October 15th. Two organizations asking everyone to take the #TT Pledge, an oath that everyone involved with the game become more aware of concussion symptoms and recovery. Visit recognizetorecover.org for more information. Good on you, Taylor. Cross wound in here. Hartford looking for a third. Davey goes in strong, and this flicked out of play. While we do have a very brief moment, the USL family absolutely grief-stricken by the news last week. Isaac Promise of Austin Bold passing away suddenly on Wednesday. I mean, just complete sadness. He was with Nigeria's 2008 silver medal winning Olympic team that actually knocked the United States out of the group stage that year. But a wonderful player to watch for Austin, and from everything we've been told, an even better guy off the field. So our thoughts with Austin and the family of Isaac Promise. We're all devastated. "76 minutes in now. Wednesday night soccer. Hartford looking to spring a giant upset at home. Push through to Lopez. Oh, that clearance poor. Johnson on the move, leveled off, sliding, keeps right off the ball, and Johnson came in seeking it further. The offside flag is up. And a change coming for Birmingham as they try and change the late game trajectory here. Femi Hollinger-Jansen comes on, a player whose versatility is both blessing and curse.
Kid's a beast, and he always has been for his entire career, short at that, but will definitely be prosperous as he continues forward. Beautiful talent coming out of Indiana. Has built all those years under the Yeagley family. Of course, a Revolution player, and now someone was able to cherry pick him a little bit. Some interesting changes here for them. I'm not surprised the guy's coming off the bench, just kind of surprised that who's actually taking a seat.
Culbertson and Williams off. This ball crossed. Barrera, that's an excellent save by Van Oekel to lift it over. Corner coming. Dalgard looked like he was in pursuit of helping Hartford to their third.
This is why you do have a world-class goalkeeper. Matt Van Oekel spills the first one. He gets that wrong. When you come out, got to get your big mitts on, and he doesn't. And this is almost assuredly game set, but the match definitely not over. Great save by Van Oekel to push it over the bar.
Could that turn the tide here for the Legion? High arcing cross, Angulo spears it back along. Kept through Bedoya. Perfectly dissected onto the left-hand wing, and a curling effort goes wide of the far post. Not a bad effort from Ryan Williams, not bad at all.
Especially when you're up 2-0, why not? Pull the trigger once again. Little corner shot, and got a lot of bodies in there that you could utilize to your best of the abilities, but also go direct, and I don't mind it whatsoever, especially when Van Oekel's been tested a couple times. Keeper's rattled.
Barrera intercepts. Taken by Cromwell. The service will find opposite side, and Kasim, this leveled off, and a chance goes ringing off the head of Davy. Lopez looked assured of a goal there if that had found its way through. Cracked forward again. Johnson, pressure mounting right now from Birmingham. Johnson, excellent cut around Swartz, falls top of the area, the shot ricochets free. Dalgard clears further. DeVitt had his hands down to the turf, and it may have come off his arm, but it'd be hard to call that unnatural. Hartford bringing on the human dump truck. Vucic, former Bradley product, born in Poland, went through the Chicago Fire Academy. And Jose Angulo comes off. 56th minute, it may be a game winner, and it's through his pressure that they scored.
No apologies necessary here by Jose Angulo. Thorn in the side all night long, and you're just trying to find a way. Could you get him out one-on-one? They finally do it. Of course, it comes from 46, Daniel Bedoya. He would change service as well in the 62nd minute, getting a goal of his own. But it was Angulo who put them out in front, and they've enabled him to stay there.
There's Vucic. He is just he's a freakish human. And he sends this surging ball. Excellent for Vucic. Barrera! Surely that's 3 in the bag for Hartford.
It's a highlight reel on one end, but a victory cigar in the likes of Vucic coming off the bench and immediately getting involved with some stellar play. Danny Barrera and Daniel Bedoya have been absolutely amazing here in the second half. Daniel Bedoya will probably get the headlines, but Danny Barrera's service and what he's been able to do, nothing short of spectacular. Bit of individualistic skill on full display by the Polish striker up top, and then just the smarts by Danny Barrera to allow this to develop. He now goes one-on-one with the goalkeeper, and the only place that he can put this is to that far post. Still a lot of work to be done. Has to open up the hips, put enough English on it to tuck it inside the post. 3 is very, very sweet for Hartford Athletic.
Danny Bedoya came off at the stop. Nicky Downs, the former Yale product and a Connecticut native from Lakeville, comes on. Ball sneaks forward to Downs. The first Yale Bulldog to go pro in 14 years in soccer. Shipped forward by Avila. Comes out to Kasim. It'll take a miracle now for Birmingham to take even a point tonight. Andrew Jansen got a touch, and it's picked up by Cropper.
Appreciate the clarification on the in soccer for Yale, by the way. Also, would like to give you a little bit of credit earlier with regard to Jay Heaps, because you said, you know, that's when most people took notice to his coaching career. I was about to jump on you because that was my boy watching him back in the day for the Miami Fusion.
I know. So I was. That's called teeing up your analyst in our business.
I was running around the background with a T-ball bat trying to chase you down, though, just swinging away in thin air.
Is there something about dunking involved with him? The story you tell?
Well, that was always my argument, because he was an outside back who was just relentless, a massive engine. And when everybody would come to watch who didn't necessarily know about the Fusion, I said, listen, he's got to be one of the only guys, if not the only, in all of MLS at that point in time, coming out of playing for Mike Krzyzewski at Duke, who could dunk and also score some ridiculous goals on the other side of the field.
Kasim, that just got underneath the foot of Wright. The following effort comes bouncing out to Avila. Drops down to Johnson again. Vucic stepped in. And now Downs spearheading the charge the other way for Hartford. Fans, the USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. It allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth, compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. You and I are excited about some of the academies that are building up here in USL. FC Tucson and Phoenix Rising, San Antonio. Some teams putting some serious effort forward into that. Obviously, St. Louis FC. Birmingham will not lose ground on St. Louis tonight. With 3 games to go and a pretty simplistic schedule for Charleston Battery, I would imagine that they've left a lot up to question with tonight's performance on the road. If there's good news for Birmingham, they finish at home. If there's bad news, 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. Vucic took it away. Return for Dalgard. Vucic! Where has this been all year for Hartford? Dillon Stadium erupting like it hadn't in decades, 4-0.
The Birmingham Legion only have themselves to blame on this one, as they have been utterly shocked by the result tonight. Looking down the line at who was next up could definitely be one of the issues that run into here, but again, trying to play out of the back. We saw it in the second goal that they were able to score on. That is their 4th goal in 30 minutes, too, for some really lackluster play coming out of the back line from the Legion. When you are having those kinds of problems, knock the ball down the field, give yourself an opportunity to just get back to basics, and they haven't done that all night long. A winner from Watch in the 4th goal, and that's great. Not taking anything away from what Hartford Athletic has done. But this is going to be that match. If you're Tom Stone and you look back upon and go, wow, we really messed up here, because this was a chance with St. Louis FC going down tonight. They could not only have jumped in front of them, but distanced themselves from the Charleston Battery. They are now only going to have 2 games left on their schedule, while the Battery level on points still at 3.
Home against New York, home against Pittsburgh, and they're off this weekend. They'll know exactly what they need going into the last day of the regular season. They just don't know what Pittsburgh's going to need. Pittsburgh right now, top of the Eastern Conference. They may be competing for home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and home field advantage in the Eastern Conference has been worth its weight in gold over the years. Not so much in the West. Down, streaking forward. Kept alive. Rasmussen came on, and Dalgard came off at the last stop as Hartford has used their full allotment of changes. Downs again. Jimmy Nielsen said this whole season at times has felt like a slap in the face. You have to take it like a man, he said. Well, they've certainly returned the favor tonight. Downs fighting through Kasim. And if you're Birmingham, here's some good news. The tiebreaker against Charleston is very much in your favor. If you finish level on points, you are going to have more wins. But the remaining schedules for each of the 3 sides indicate Birmingham probably has the longest road left to travel. Rasmussen, who took over the captain's armband when he came onto the field. Rasmussen again. This is really insightful stuff from Hartford. And the cross for Downs. He hit it all wrong. You want to incite a riot in Hartford, have the Connecticut kids score the 5th goal.
Stick 5 in the back of the net on the Birmingham Legion, who's fighting for their playoff lives. Go get it, Nicky Downs. Although you can see that maybe just lacking some of that prowess right at the top to finish things off. Still searching for his first professional goal.
through the nearby Hotchkiss School. Just put out some really incredible players over the years. Cropper for Gadula. All of a sudden, the Hartford team that's given up 79 goals is on the verge of a shutout. Downs played through. Is this his moment? Downs right at Matt Van Oekel. And then for Birmingham, a team that defensively has been cream of the crop in the Eastern Conference for the last 3 months, gets torched by the Athletic tonight.
To be fair, we didn't even bring it up because it was going so quickly for Hartford Athletic. The 4 goals in 30 minutes. After 2, they went to 3 at the back for the Birmingham Legion. And something to take note of, they've seen that move done a couple times this year, but they've done it from a starting position where they've started the game off in 3. Notably, they actually lost earlier on this season. New York Red Bull 2. They also lost to Nashville and Tampa Bay Rowdies. What happened in those? 8 goals given up, and they didn't put any in the back of the net. So it gives you an idea. When they do go to 3 at the back, they really struggle.
Joe Holland comes on. It's his 11th appearance off the bench, his 14th appearance this year. Lopez is done, and Birmingham's going to turn all of its attention now to their last 2 home games. It's a team that has overcome such drastic obstacles this year. The Birmingham native Chandler Hoffman comes back to his hometown, a 50-goal scorer in the USL Championship. He goes down with a knee injury. We've been told his brace is coming off this week, but he won't return in 2019. We'll have to wait for 2020. And this team flipped the switch with a 14-day break at the end of June and into July. But is the hole they dug just a little bit too deep? And put themselves in playoff position with 3 to go, and they'll have work to do with 2 to go. Not it away from Kasim. Settled by Wright. Well, Devin, put into words, what does this mean for Hartford?
There are no words. And that's how important this is for them. Everything that they've gone through this season, the ups, the downs, being on the road to start the year, getting absolutely bashed week after week for the opening 8 matches, to then maybe see a light at the end of the tunnel that never really took full shape. You had to deal with red cards, injuries, suspensions left and right. Jimmy Nielsen, you said you got to take punches in the face and find a way to get up. They took a bunch on the chin, but constantly pulled themselves off the mat.
Downs circles around. Downs crossing, and the finish just not there. And for Birmingham, they've talked all year long about how good their locker room is. They're gonna need to bounce back now. They're gonna get a week off to stew on this before they welcome Red Bull 2 and Pittsburgh to end their season. And they're gonna need 4 or 6 points most likely to get the job done. Full-time whistle. What a performance for Jimmy Nielsen and Hartford Athletic. They drop 4 on a Birmingham side in desperate need of a win for their playoff hopes. Their 2nd shutout of the year comes with just 2 games left.
Go figure on that one. Well done by Cody Cropper, but this has got to be a collective effort. Loved what I saw to the outside backs in Raymond Lee and Harry Swartz. You shut down some of the more impressive boys that can get the job done in the final third, in the likes of Brian Wright and J.J. Williams. Very well done by the home squad. Birmingham Legion, we're going to have a talk in a couple minutes.
4 different goal scorers: Angulo, Bedoya, Barrera, and Vucic. We'll wrap this one up. Wednesday Night Soccer continues after this on ESPN News. exactly what the doctor ordered tonight for Jimmy Nielsen and Hartford Athletic. A 4-0 drubbing of the potentially playoff-bound Birmingham Legion at historic Dillon Stadium in Connecticut. Welcome back, everybody. Mike Watts, joined by Devin Kerr here on Wednesday Night Soccer. Didn't see that coming.
I'm so confused as to what just happened and what we all witnessed. For Birmingham Legion, let's talk right now. You guys had a nice little run. 9 games unbeaten, 7-0-2. Oh, by the way, 7 shutouts in that time frame. Since then, 1-4-1, only 2 shutouts, and they've had 3 multiple go games. Yeah, this is one of them, by the way. Hartford Athletic, good on you. Really well done. We said they didn't always bring a press. It was very intermittent at times, but when they executed it, it was almost to a T. Jose Angulo, the sleeping giant, you never want to poke him, but when you do, he provides some really impressive play. This one goes in the bottom corner, 1-0 Hartford Athletic.
56th minute. As it turned out, this would only be the 2nd shutout of the year in 33 games for Hartford. So they didn't need more, but they did get more. Bedoya got it all.
Who played that ball to Angulo? Daniel Bedoya, number 46. I told you at halftime, and this isn't something revelational, I promise you. Jimmy Nielsen, the White Puma, said the same thing. He is too talented of an individual to not put him on the ball more. They almost tripled his workload in the second half. It paid its dividends. And then you just got complacent if you're Birmingham Legion. They go to a 3-back. They can't maintain that proper back line that you saw in the opening 45 minutes. Yes, it was lacking offensively, but they got away from their bread and butter. Hartford Athletic made them pay. That was the 3rd. Let's make it number 4. This comes from the substitute, Waj Vucic, 86th minute. Look at the ball by Sebastian Dalcard. Quick little flick over, bottom corner. 4 is the score.
Soak it in, Hartford. Long overdue. They can really celebrate here tonight. Here are the full-time stats, Dev. Chance for your final thoughts.
I'm concerned if I'm Birmingham Legion because I'm leaking left and right. This is the issue that they had earlier this season, and they really got back to things. Now you got to figure out, how do you go forward? Go sit down if you're Tom Sohn, sit down, watch some tape, and get back to that. Oh, by the way, Charleston Battery, you're on notice. You're now in the driver's seat.
Well, we've got one more Wednesday Night Soccer. It's going to be Monarchs and Sacramento. It comes up October the 19th. That'll have playoff seeding implications. This one just flat out had playoff implications. The Legion get shellacked by Hartford in the rain tonight in Connecticut. Finally a win deserving of Hartford. Jimmy Nielsen's side have waited so long. For our wonderful Vista WorldLink team, led by stage manager Stephen Kravitz, Eric Falero, producer Abel Ponte, director Gage Tillotson, Mike Friedman, Brad Baker, Devin Kerr alongside Mike Watts, saying thanks for watching Wednesday Night Soccer. So long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.